if you will be go outside in a manner that you will be achieving a position or use it intentionally to make a position, we will be you may be penalized. We always tell you to record your session. You record all the races because we may request your video if something you want to claim something that happened, you can do that. But obviously, you have to present the video for what you are claiming of. So everybody have a nice race. Good luck to everybody, and we can start the practice session soon. Thank you.
Pit exit, please. Can we get clear that it's the long way down and not the first opening?
I think the best is going to the right side. I mean, it's more safer.
The longest one is the safest. Otherwise, you're in the middle of the track.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jekk tistgħu mexxuni.
Jessa nidħol. Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Malita Flexi.
So, would like to welcome you again for this second casual race of Sim Racing Malta for this month. We have an open wheeler casual race today with the Lotus. Here with me, we have also Joshua, and as usual, as you can see, it's Justin, me, George, and also Gilmore, who'll be also having a look at our Facebook. So, practice session is underway already, where we have like 30 minutes of practice. Following that, we'll go into 15 minutes of qualifying, and then we'll see two races of 20 laps each. Today, we increased obviously the laps from 15 to 20 because of this. It's a short track, so we saw that cars were doing it like 44, 45 seconds. So we put 20 laps, and on the second race, it will be reverse grid.
Absolutely, and hello everyone. Welcome to this Lotus 98T casual race. The Lotus 98T, of course, being the Formula One used Lotus from the 1986 season. Only weighs half a ton, very light car, Goodyear tyres, ELF fuel, very, very powerful car, which powered its way to third in the 1986 Constructors' Championship. 2 wins, of course, for Ayrton Senna, the other driver being Johnny Dumfries. And today we have got several more of them, and we're going to thrash them around the Silverstone National Circuit. So this will be a good one. It's a very exciting car. It's a very exciting, very prestigious circuit as well, of course. The very first Formula One race was held here at Silverstone. I've been here several times. It's just a fantastic place. You get, you really do get a feeling of how important it is for motorsport. As Justin Barucki, ooh, good save from Justin Barucki there. But yeah, we're using the national circuit today, so the shortened version of it, meaning that there's going to be a lot of traffic involved, and it means that the quicker drivers are going to catch the slower drivers pretty quickly, I'd say. And you can see that the lap times so far are actually within 45 seconds. We've got a 0:44.9 topping the leaderboard at the moment with Justin Barucki behind the wheel. And he currently is being followed by Josh Martin, Brandon Tabone, Keith Camilleri, Terence Grech, Omar Barbara, Joseph Spiteri, Jake Bonici, Joseph Kalea, and I believe those are all of the drivers who have actually set laps so far. So 9 drivers have set laps. Also in the on the entry, I see Sandro Zara, Bernard Vella, who's actually just gone quickest in the first sector, so that'll be a lap to watch. Ooh, gets very close to another car, I believe touches them slightly. And then also in the session is Clinton Paulsen and Alessandro Grech, who I believe is left actually. So whether Grech's going to be in or not, I'm not entirely sure. Let's see what Bernard Vella can do on this lap anyway. He did get held up slightly by a slower car. He still managed to go to 4th position. So that's 4th for Bernard Vella so far as he pulls off the road. But Barucki is responding. Barucki has gone fast again in the first sector. Of course, this is only practice, so it doesn't affect the race order or the starting order. But of course, they still want to lead the event as it is early on in proceedings, and that is why they will be going for it in practice and just getting that last minute practice before qualifying, I suppose. And Barucki's lap didn't come to anything, by the way. It wasn't quicker than his best, even though he is still 7/10 of a second ahead of Josh Martin in second. So Justin Barucki on a very quick having a very quick session at the moment, as Terence Grech goes up to 5th. And Barucchi's going quicker again. So Barucchi is going quicker in the first sector. There you see, oh, he's actually cut the corner at Brooklands there. So I don't know if this lap's going to be allowed or not. I think the game might well have just disallowed it itself. If not, that probably won't be allowed to stand. But anyway, for now, Baruki is going to cross the line and... Oh, it's fastest in the first and second sector, and I wonder why with the second sector. Probably because he went over the inside curb at Brooklands as my fire alarm goes off. So I think my house is burning down. Well, that was a good start. I'm joking. That lap from Justin Baruki was a 44.464, a lot of fours involved. But of course, we saw cut Brooklands. Not that really that's a corner you gain much time from cutting, but never mind. Right, who else is on track? Oh, we have also got Alessandro Grech in the session, so that means we do have an Alessandro Grech. That looks like a very Benetton livery. Oh, you see, it's got Bullet written on the side in the old Benetton fashion. I think we all know what that is referring to, that livery there, but he's set an okay first sector, 24.4, goes through Brooklands, keeps it on the road. The next corner is Luffield, which is a corner that just seems to come and come and come. It never seems to end until you're out of it, and then you can lay down the power, run it to the edge of the circuit, and then through Woodcut and across the line, and he goes 11th with that opening attempt. So, meanwhile, Terence Grech has moved his way up to 3rd place. So Grech has gone to 3rd, and Josh Martin has gone up to 2nd, ahead of Justin Baruki. So Baruki's lost that place there. Barbara is going up in the 2nd sector here. Omar Barbara. And, well, in the 1st sector, rather. That was the sector that was quick. Slight wiggle out of Woodcut. That's very easy to do. And I don't think this lap is going to be quicker anyway. Let's see as he crosses the line. No, it isn't. So, there's Cops. Cops, of course, being the first corner of the track. Very easy to just run it out and over the white line on the outside. If the drivers do that in qualifying, I'm sure they'll have their laps finished. Then we go through Maggots and the first part of Beckett's, which is a quick left and then a right. Because normally it would be Maggots and Beckett's would be a left, right, left wiggle all the way down that sector of track. But of course, in this version, you just jink to the left slightly, which sets you up for the braking zone, and then the kink to the right, or the hairpin almost to the right, which is now Beckett's, which then fires you back down the Wellington Straight and towards the start-finish line again to start your lap. I'm just looking through at some of these liveries. Actually, some of these are really quite creative. Very obvious reference to F1 teams of the golden eras, as some people would call them. If we look through the order, of course, I've already pointed out the Benetton lookalike. Also, there are a couple of others. Christian Baruki is in this session now, actually. So Christian Baruki, I presume, is related to Justin, although I don't know. And he has he's taken obviously a classic John Player special Lotus livery, as has Brandon Tabone there. I expected there'd be some, as Christian Baruki goes up to 3rd position now. Keith Camilleri, incidentally, is in sort of like a Texaco Marlboro McLaren style colour. What does it say on the front wing there? I think it says Mulberry. Yeah, it does. It says Mulberry. I think we all know that means Marlboro. Yes. So Keith Camilleri in one that it looks like a kind of mid-70s livery, doesn't it? So good to see that sort of livery on the grid today. There's a kind of shadow style livery on Joseph Spiteri's car. What about? Well, we've already seen Alessandro Grech's Benetton. As Joseph Clare runs off the road slightly. There are a couple of others. Jake Benici strikes me as a kind of IndyCar livery. I'm sure I've seen that one before somewhere. And Sandro Zara also with a McLaren style livery. Ooh, big wiggle as well. Yellow helmet too. Reminds me of Ayrton Senna possibly, who of course did drive the Lotus 98T, but of course for the Lotus team. So we have 17 minutes remaining in this short practice session here, and then we will have a 15-minute qualifying session, followed by two 20-minute races, 20-lap races rather. That will end up being less than 20 minutes, and then the second race will be a reverse grid race, fully reverse grid. So the gap for the at the head of this session is still about 0.6 of a second. Justin Barucki really appears to have the hang of this car so far, as he is really taking the fight to and beating so far Bernard Vella and the likes of Keith Camilleri and Brandon Tabone as well, who, of course, are usually right up at the top of the order. Clinton Falzon, that's a quick first sector from Falzon, only about 0.2 of a second off the best so far from Justin Barucki. Let's see what Falzon can do as he crosses the line this time. Well, it's not. Oh, it is quicker. That's up to third for Clinton Falzon. So Falzon goes third, and then it immediately runs off at Cops and loses the next lap in the process. Joseph Spiteri is on his best first sector, locks it up slightly into Luffield, and runs it out of Luffield, still up on his time, so that lockup didn't do too much. Maybe he's done that on his previous laps as well. He crosses the line and goes 7th, so moves ahead of Brandon Tabone and Keith Camilleri there. And Camilleri isn't usually about 9th on the order, he's usually in the top 5, so it's interesting to see Camilleri there, and I wonder if he's got anything else up his sleeve. Now, I believe that these cars are all running the same setup. I believe this is a stock setup series, or event rather, which is quite baffling, seeing as only the top 7 are actually within a second and a half of the best laps so far, which is quite interesting, seeing as theoretically these drivers all have the same car. And in fact, no driver is within half a second of Justin Barucki up front, so maybe Barucchi's just really found how to drive this car, whereas the other drivers are still getting used to it. Well, we'll see what they can do for the rest of the session. Obviously, Barucchi hasn't actually been out of the pits in a while. He's just been sort of sitting in the pits, watching everyone else going past. Josh Martin is on a quicker lap in the first sector here, although that didn't look like the best of Brooklands. The corner, of course, named after the very first motor racing venue, only a short drive down the road from Silverstone. Josh Martin crosses the line and goes 3rd, so he moves ahead of Clinton Falzon and Christian Barucchi there. Although Clinton Falzon is responding with the quickest first sector time of anyone in the session so far. So Clinton Falzon on a flyer so far. And just coming around Luffield, he is. Out of Luffield, wiggles on the throttle a bit, and this is going to be a quick lap. Let's see what it is. And it's 2nd, so just about. Well, actually, lost out by about 0.4 in the second sector there. Justin Barucchi maintains the lead, but Falzon moves up into 2nd ahead of Bella and Martin. So Falzon 2nd, it's Barucchi 1st, then Falzon, Bella, Martin, and the other Barucchi, Christian Barucchi, of course. Oh, I tell you what, though, quick lap comes in from where? I'm sure I saw the leaderboard just change. Josh Martin. Josh Martin goes quicker again and keeps his second. No, moves up to 2nd position now. So Josh Martin is up to 2nd, and 0.2 of a second still, almost 0.3 of a second off Justin Barucchi at the head of the order. So that's the order so far. And now we're just waiting for more laps to come in. There's a couple of cars off actually. Plenty of people doing donuts. It looks like. Is that down at Maggots and Beckett's? There are people doing donuts down at Maggots and Beckett's. I think, was it Keith Camilleri? Now that's bizarre. You don't tend to see people doing donuts in the middle of a practice session. What's happened there? Well, maybe that was just someone had spun and was trying to spin it back round again, but there appear to be about 3 drivers off. Joseph Spiteri's gone off as well. There appear to be about 3 drivers off, and they just kept going round and round and round. It appeared they were spinning the rear wheels up. So that was bizarre. But anyway, whatever happened, the session continues with 12 minutes remaining still. And again, it's Baruki, Martin, Falzen, Spiteri, and Vela, and that's the order in practice. Remember, this isn't qualifying yet, and qualifying could show a completely different order, but that's a good sign of who to look out for, who's possibly going to be on the pace, and who possibly isn't. And now Christian Baruki has set a very quick first sector time. So let's watch this lap as he's coming through the Luffield now. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him. That's going to be disturbing the airflow of his car slightly. But round the final corner he comes. He's going up and up on his time. And he goes fourth. So Christian Baruki up into fourth position for now. The second Lebanese driver in the race behind his brother Justin Baruki. Well, I say brother, I don't actually know if they're related or not. Surname sharer, I'll say to be safe.
I think it's you're quite right. Obviously, I think it's the same thinking we're thinking here. That Christian Baruch is the brother of Justin.
Okay, I expected that, but I wanted to make sure, seeing as I wasn't entirely sure. Of course, a lot of people think that the Gress, Terence, and Alessandro are related, but I asked Terence the other day, and he said they have no relation as far as they know. So that means that we have two surname sharing pairs in this event, and only one of those pairs is related. Good to see a couple of people in the YouTube stream so far. We've got Penta, who I know quite well, as well as Samuel Bartolo. Hello to both of you. I believe we are also live on Facebook for anyone who would rather stream or watch the stream on Facebook. Indeed, we are live on Facebook. Have we got any comments yet on that? I'll have a brief look. Yeah. Jamal Gandor is here, just confirming that the Lebanese brothers are indeed brothers, and they are indeed on form tonight with Baruki, with the Barukis first and fourth. Jason Muscat is in, very quick racer himself. Of course, won the last single-seater casual race that Sim Racing Malta held when we had those Formula Renault 3.5 cars at Sepang. That was very good. Rachel Mifsud says good luck to all. We've also got Claude Herb, Joseph Baruki. There's three Barukis. This is quite Baruki fest here today. But anyway, that's that. Anyway, good to see everyone here, and hopefully we will get a few more people in as the session continues. So Justin Baruki still at the top of the order. Christian Baruki is fourth, but going up on his time. So Christian Baruki sets the first sector time about 2/10 off his brother, and is rounding Luffield. Ooh, kicking out the rear end, and that's going to have ruined his lap, I'm afraid. Which of the two Barukis is the older one, Justin or Christian? I'm not entirely sure. Of course, I didn't actually know that Justin had a sim racing brother until today, so that's interesting. Interesting name on the entry list, but anyway. And indeed, that did ruin Christian's lap. He was put a long way down from where he was before. Keith Camilleri is now putting the pedal down, but gets very, very close to another car there who he just couldn't get past, and that's going to have ruined his lap. But at least we've seen that he can go faster. That was Joseph Calais. So Joseph Calais, unfortunately, getting right in the way of Keith Camilleri there and ruining his lap. But it looks as if Calais was on a lap himself, actually, so he was completely entitled to do so. And that means that Camilleri, unfortunately, just has to deal with that. And that lap, I'm afraid for him, is pretty much down the drain. But such is the difficulty with having such a short track, because of course we do have, well, this is the national circuit, so there's really not much room on the track for this many cars. We've got 14 cars in the session so far on a track that is only 40 seconds long, 44 seconds long when you do it right. So that means that we really don't have much room on the track at all. I'm going to get a calculator briefly and work out what that sort of means for the cars. It means that you get it means that you get a car going past every 3.1 seconds if they're all equally spread out. So if they're all equally spread out on track, you get a car going past every 3.1 seconds. That is quite amazing there. Also, apparently Christian is the older brother, and Jamal Gandor is the Sim Racing Middle East team principal. Okay, jolly good. So Christian is the older brother of the two Lebanese twins, not twins, brothers. Whoops. And has also just gone faster again, actually, in the first sector. So Baruki went faster in the first sector, but unfortunately, it looks as if he lost the delta time in the second sector.
It seems today that we're gonna have our live steward is gonna have quite a lot to do on the first corner, because we're seeing even this practice session, a lot of cars are just going 4 wheels off track in that corner. So I think it's gonna be a hefty day on the first corner for our live steward, giving 10-second penalties.
Oh goodness gracious! Good luck to the live steward with all of that. Yeah, Cops Corner does tend to be one that people do tend to overshoot slightly, as Alessandro Gresh moves himself up into 8th position now, and Keith Camilleri moves himself up into 7th immediately. But anyway, Cops, of course, tarmac runoff on the outside, very fast corner. That is a recipe for track extending, and that is indeed what tends to happen at Cops. We do have live stewards in this series, of course. That's one of the reasons that this series is so professional compared to a lot of the other sim racing leagues. But of course, they're going to have their work cut out. And again, Keith Camilleri again was going up on his time, and he again meets traffic in the second sector. Camilleri just can't get a break here, and he pits. So Keith Camilleri would have got up on that lap. He was actually 0.3 of a second up there, so maybe he would have moved up into 6th ahead of Joseph Spiteri. But Camilleri again meeting traffic in the third sector. He's having the worst luck so far in this session. That's about 3 times I've seen that so far. But of course, on a track where, when the cars are equally spread out, you see a car every 3.1 seconds, then of course that would be the case. Hello to Chris Shepherd as well, who has just joined the live chat. Shepherd, a very good sim racer himself, who I've trained for months to get close to in terms of time on track, and haven't been able to get anywhere near. So anyway, it's still Baruki at the top of the order. That has not changed in a long time. He is still 0.2 of a second, almost 0.3 of a second ahead of Josh Martin. And then it's Clinton Falson, Christian Baruki, and Bernard Vella in this Baruki Fest, as I'm going to call it so far. Ooh, and talking of Baruki Fest, Christian Baruki goes 3rd with a fastest second sector time of all. And the second sector is where he was off his brother earlier on in the session, actually, because he was going up in the first sector, if you remember, and then he lost it all in the second sector. Now he's got the second sector absolutely nailed, better than anyone has. If he can deliver the same first sector that he did earlier, Christian Baruki and Justin Baruki will be absolutely fighting for the lead of this race. So Christian and Justin right at the front of the order, only separated by the Scotsman Josh Martin at the moment. So it's Baruki, Martin, Baruki, Falson, Vella at the front of the order, and that could be very, very interesting. I really can't tell what's going to come of this, actually. But anyway, I'll keep an eye on the session. That's an amazing second sector time from Christian Baruki, considering he was 0.4 off in the second sector earlier in the session. Now he's gone up as Joseph Calais crossed the line for well, I thought he was quicker than his best initially, but it wasn't. Wow, so Keith Camilleri now having about a 5th attempt at going up on his lap. He's in the 2nd sector and he is going up as we expected he would. And this time he has no traffic in his way. There are plenty of cars in the pits. And Camilleri is going to cross the line to finally put in a proper lap, which doesn't move him up any positions. So Camilleri stays 7th behind Spiteri. And he's going to have another go, I suppose, if he's going to go any quicker. The fact that Camilleri is 7th in the session so far proves the quality of driving we are seeing so far, because Camilleri, of course, very quick driver, usually finishes right up the front of the order. So to see him 7th just proves the pace of the quicker guys. Of course, we see Joseph Spiteri, Christian Barucchi, Josh Martin. Those 3 have not competed in a sim racing Malta race that I have seen before. And we also have some old names which keep coming back and keep going quicker, from Bernard Vella, Quentin Falzen, and Justin Barucchi, who is at the top of the order so far. Behind them, of course, we've still got the 2 Gress, Terence and Alessandro, and then Brandon Tabone, Omar Barbara, Jake Benici, Joseph Calais, Sandro Zara, and also in the session now, who wasn't in the session before and has joined in very late, is Dario Andrioni. Now, the session is very much coming to a close here. The drivers will only have one more chance to lap if they're on track now. If they're in the pits, they won't be able to get out in time. We've got less than half a minute remaining until the session ends. So, really, no time to improve at all. Let's watch Keith Camilleri. He just went up on his 2nd sector time, but didn't go up on his lap. Now he wants to improve his 1st sector to back up that quick 2nd sector. So he's about a 10th up according to the Delta so far. Let's watch the 1st sector Delta time. Oh, it's actually down. So the 1st sector Delta time is down on what he could do. He's in the 2nd sector now. There's Luffield, and then out towards Woodcote. The session time has ticked to 0. Whoa, spin in front of him. Someone went off there, but Camilleri crosses the line and doesn't go quicker. And who was that who had that spin? I believe it was one of the classic Lotus liveried cars, possibly. Actually, I'm really not sure. Anyway, that's that practice session over. So, Justin Barucchi topped it, followed by Josh Martin, Christian Barucchi, Clinton Falzen, Bernard Vella, Joseph Spiteri, Keith Camilleri, Terence Grech, Alessandro Grech, Brandon Tabone, Omar Barbara, Joseph Clare, Jake Benici, Sandro Zara, and Dario Andrioni, who didn't set a lap. So that was the...
Yeah, sure. We'll going for some adverts now very soon, so that we'll continue with the qualifying in 2.5 minutes.
جيجابت انترنت issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Malita Flexi.
And we're back now for the qualifying session of today's race. As said earlier, also we'll have with us Joshua Jones. We have Justin on my right here, and George is preparing some papers, and as always, also Gilmore with us here, giving us a helping hand during this live race. On to you, Joshua.
Rightio, so qualifying has just started. We are a couple of minutes in. It was a 15-minute qualifying session. We're about 1.5 minutes in, so we've got 13.5 minutes remaining. And the first driver on a lap is Justin Baruki. So Baruki, who top practice, is going to put in the initial pace here. And what's the lap? It's a 44.761. That's about 3/10 off what he did in practice. So we know that these drivers can go faster. Josh Martin puts in the second lap. He is off the pace by about 0.8 of a second. And Christian Baruki goes second so far, about 0.7 off the pace. So it's the two Barukis leading it at the moment. But of course, we've only had a handful of laps in. Keith Camilleri goes to second. He is 0.4 down at the moment, and still only one driver into the 44-second margin. So Justin Baruki leading them convincingly so far on such a short track. Second now goes Josh Martin, still not in the 44s. He did a 45.152. So Josh Martin 0.4 of a second off Justin Baruki at the head of the order, and Keith Camilleri goes third. He was already third, never mind. Oh, well, he was second before he got promoted. He is in the second sector now and goes back to second. So Keith Camilleri back to second here on this tiny circuit. Joseph Collet is going up on his lap. He crosses the line to go 8th ahead of Joseph Spiteri, who has spun into the barrier. Brandon Tabone is up in the first sector. He's 7th at the moment. What can he do in the second sector? As Justin Baruki goes even quicker with a fastest sector 2 time of the session so far. That's a 44.672, which is 0.2 of a second ahead of Keith Camilleri with a 44.943. Now, Brandon Tabone finishes his lap. It's still 5th. He doesn't improve, but who does improve is Clinton Falzon, who now goes up to 4th. So Clinton Falzon up to 4th. We've got two guys in the 44-second margin, Baruki and Camilleri at the head of the order. As Omar Barbara now goes up to 8th, and the first pace from Dario Andreoni comes in. It's 7th with a 45.713. Of course, he didn't practice, so that's a good lap from him considering. Terence Gresh, fastest of the session so far in the first sector. Let's watch him in the second sector. This could be a real challenge of a lap. He was only about 8th in practice, so this is quite shocking so far. This is really good pace, and it puts him second with a 44.8. I knew there was more to come from Terence Gresh, who puts it second ahead of Keith Camilleri. But Camilleri is going for it again. He's up and he's second. So Camilleri goes second again, just 0.024 off Justin Baruki at the head of the order. Baruki is top at the moment with a 44.672. Camilleri is second with a 44.696. Remember that in practice they were in the 44.4s, so there is definitely room for improvement here. And still about 10 minutes to actually do it in. Christian Baruki is quick in the first sector, as is his brother Justin Baruki, but his brother Justin Baruki is fastest of the session so far. Let's watch Christian. He's going to put in the lap first. So both Barukis flying at the moment, and Christian Baruki goes 4th ahead of Josh Martin. Now let's switch immediately to Justin Baruki, who's going quickly. Oh, it's an improvement. Justin Baruki does a 44.612. That puts him 0.084 ahead of Camilleri, and now he spins it over the grass. Bernard Vella moves up into fourth ahead of Christian Barucki. So that's one of the Baruccis losing a place there. And Brandon Tabone is on a quick one in the second sector now. He's ninth so far. Ooh, squirrels out the rear end a little bit. I don't know if that's going to affect his lap. Let's see as he crosses the line. Brandon Tabone goes 8th, so he did still go up. And Bernard Vella is going to be the next car through to who is on a quicker lap. There's a lot of tumbling times in this grid so far. I love that about shorter tracks. And Bernard Vella goes to 3rd, so Vella is 3rd. Omar Barbara crosses the line. He stays 9th. I believe it was a slight... No, it wasn't an improvement on lap. Never mind. He stays 9th for now. Sandro Zara is going up on his time, is he? Actually, has he set it? Yeah, he set a time. And for some reason... Oh, never mind. That's his outlap, so that didn't count at all. Alessandro Grech... I knew there was something fishy about it. Alessandro Grech is... up in the first sector and entering the second sector, well, the final corner now. And he goes up to 12th, so demotes Joseph Calleja there. Dario Andreoni is 10th, rounding the final corner, and he is putting in a quicker lap to go 9th, so demotes Omar Barbara down into 10th position as Christian Barucchi sets his fastest lap so far, but stays 5th.
So actually, we're gonna have our live steward today here is quite busy, as we're seeing. Majority of, if I may say, also all drivers just going out 4 wheels off track on the first corner. So we're trying to advise them several times, even sending them the messages on a set top so that they can obviously control that corner, but it seems that they might be overexcited today, but they're going 4 wheels off track very often.
Goodness gracious! Well, I hope we don't get too many drivers at the top of the order. I've just remembered actually, Justin Barucchi's fastest lap in practice, I believe, was one that he went over the track limits on. So maybe this is the fastest they can go within the limits. Falzen now goes up into 4th. There is a question mark hanging over the entire field now that I've been told that, because of course, who knows who has gone quicker legitimately and who has is going to have their lap taken away for track limits. We just don't know. And well, I hope that we can continue to be updated about this. Clinton Falzen, session best in the first sector. A backmarker gets out of the way hit there. Clinton Falzen could be on for pole here. Whoa, slight wiggle out to the final corner, but he's still up on his time. Let's see what this is as Falzen rounds the final corner. Oh, it's very quick. It's a 44.442. Oh, Barucchi tops it immediately. Barucchi tops it with a session best in the second sector. That's a 44.406, fastest lap of the weekend so far. And Barucchi is 0.036 ahead of Clinton Falzen, but there's a real battle for pole here between Barucchi, Falzen, Camilleri, and anyone else who wants to get involved. So, what a cracker we're seeing so far. What can Josh Martin do? Because Martin, although he's on an 8 lap at the moment, of course, was second in practice and is only 7th now. So it's surprising that he hasn't been able to go quicker yet. What can Josh Martin do later on in the session? That'll be the real point to watch. Joseph Calleja is improving his lap so far. He's just coming around the final corner. He's in 13th in that battle with Sandro Zara not to be last. Oh wait, Jake Mamici is in the session as well. And Calleja does improve his lap, doesn't move up any positions. So we have 15 drivers on the in the field so far. As Christian Barucchi crosses the line and doesn't improve his lap. Almost did. Poor, what a manic start to this session, and we still have 5 minutes left of it. Quick first sector time just came in from Dario Andreoni. He's going quite a long way up on his lap here so far. So Andreoni rounding the final corner now is hoping to move up from 9th. It looks as if he'll be able to here. He does. He moves up to 8th, so he goes ahead of Brandon Tabone. But Tabone is answering with a quick first sector, although his second sector time was not quite so quick. Couple of drivers in the pits now, so obviously it's died down a little bit. Still just over 4 minutes to go in the session, so there's still time to improve. Andreoni spun it, and there's still plenty of times for things to tumble. Ooh, well, Baruki put in a slow first sector, I'm afraid, but then put in a very quick second sector, which was actually the fastest of the session so far. But his first sector time was just too slow, so that wasn't a quicker lap from him. He's still top of the order, though. At least we can see he has the potential to go faster in the second sector, though. So still, there's more time to be gained, obviously, and not much time left to gain it. A lot of traffic getting out of the way there. There is a lot of traffic on the road at the moment. There is just, yeah, there's a lot of traffic on this track, with it being such a short circuit. Joseph Spiteri just does not quite improve his lap. It looked as if he would. He's another driver who's shown a lot more pace in practice than he has here so far. Now, Clinton Falzon is just emerging from the pits. This will be one of his final run, possibly his final run of the session here, because the timer has ticked below the 3-minute mark, so there's really not much time left in this session for drivers to go faster. And in these cars, these very wide Formula 1 cars, qualifying is going to prove quite important here. It's not an easy track to overtake at either. So definitely good to go quicker in qualifying. Joseph Spiteri, whoa, big crash! Who was that? Spiteri clobbers the back of a car that looked as if it was stopped. It was Alessandro Gray, who had stopped in turn 1, and Joseph Spiteri, after going quicker and going up into 9th position, clobbers him up the rear, flips him up in the air, and they go for a big spin. And I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but anyway, there's only a few more minutes to go in the session. Tristan Pottas, what layout of Silverstone is this? This is the national circuit, so the shortest version of the circuit available, and that means that there's going to be a lot of traffic. Of course, earlier I worked out that with lap times like we're seeing set here, if the drivers are all equally spaced out on track, then the spectators see a car go past every 3.1 seconds, which makes me shiver every time I say it. Also, hello to Emma Fatih Dinch in the YouTube chat, and Joachim Canters as well, who has joined us. So a few more people joining in now. Hello to all of you. Of course, we are in qualifying at the moment. Only a few minutes of qualifying remaining. Actually, less than a minute of qualifying remaining now, and not much opportunity for anyone to go quicker. Interestingly, Justin Baruki is still in the pits, so our leader of the session is still in the pits and will not go out again for another shot at qualifying. He thinks that he's done enough. However, the drivers around him are still pushing for it. Let's watch Clinton Falzon. He is just about to go onto his final lap, I expect. Actually, will he have time to start another lap? He's down on this lap so far. He won't have time, will he? So Clinton Falzon is not going to have time for another lap. He's going to push for it, but he's not. It doesn't look as if he's going to be able to cross the line in time. What about Keith Camilleri? He's not going to be able to cross the line in time either. In fact, he's on an out lap, is he? No, he's actually on a lap here. So Keith Camilleri, let's watch this. This is our main shot at pole. He's down in the first sector, so this is looking very good for Justin Baruki. And Keith Camilleri has some traffic ahead of him as well. What is it with Camilleri in traffic? Camilleri just always seems to find himself bunched up by the traffic and he spins it. Around he goes, and that is the end of the session. I believe that everyone who can set a lap can finish the lap, has finished the lap, and that means the pole position goes to Justin Barucki ahead of Falzant, Camilleri, Vela, Grech, Christian Barucki, then Josh Martin, Dario Andreoni, and then it's Spiteri, Tabone, Barbara, Alessandro Grech. Of course, the first Grech was Terence, and then we also have Joseph Clare, Sandro Zara, and Jake Amici to round out the order.
For some commercials, and we'll be back for the race very soon.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Malita Flexi.
And back we are. We're gonna start our race in less than 1 minute now. You see all the cars on grid, and we obviously wish everybody good luck, and we're hoping we're hoping obviously that the first corner will be a smooth one, and obviously also eventually we'll see the drivers not cutting so much the first corner, thus accumulating the penalties.
Hopefully not. Again, the order is Justin Barucki, and then it's Falzant, Camilleri, Vela, Terence Barucki, Martin, Andreoni, Spiteri, Tabone, Barbara, Alessandro Grech, Claire, Zara, and Benici. And now we are waiting for the lights. Here they come. And here they are. So when they go out, we will be underway. Go! The race starts, and we're heading down towards turn 1. Baruki, I believe, is going to lead it. That's a bad start for Falzen. Bernard Vella from 4th on the grid is up into 2nd. So Vella takes a very good start to move up into 4th position. Is everyone through turn 1 safely? We've got, oh dear, that's Spinner who's spun there. There's, oh my word, there's a big pile up, huge pile up in Beckett's. Several people off. It's Baruki, Vella, this is the order. Then Grech, the other Baruki, Christian Baruki, is behind Josh Martin, and then it's Tabone and the rest of them. But we've got a big pile up at the back of the field, and I'll try to work out who was in that. I believe Dario Andrioni was in it. Sandro Zara, Jake Benici. We had a couple of others in it as well. But after lap 1, the order is Baruki, Vella, Martin, Grech, the other Baruki, so Christian Baruki 5th. Then it's Barbara, Falzen, Tabone, Colea, Spiteri, Camilleri. Oh, Camilleri was involved. So Camilleri, who qualified right at the front of the field, is down to 11th already. And then it's Sandro Zara. And then into the pits after this first lap, so pitting to repair damage, Andrioni, Grech, and Benici. So turn 1 was clean, but unfortunately, the first sector as a whole was not. Now, the gap for the lead on that first lap is actually 1.1 seconds, so Justin Baruki already running away with this, and that's a very big gap. So Baruki, good start from him, and now Christian Baruki has moved up ahead of Omar Barbara to 4th position, and Josh Martin is into 3rd. Martin and Baruki close on track though, and Martin might well have to go defensive as the race continues. Oh, someone's going very crossed up in the background. Omar Barbara crosses the spins up the rear wheels, loses the car, and goes into the barrier. You see the nose is in a very wonky angle here. He's probably going to have to pit for that. So Omar Barbara, unfortunately, has been into the barrier, and he's going to lose a lot of handling there with the nose at that angle. So that's a big shame. Does he pit this time around? He was running in 5th before that happened. He will have dropped right down the order. Oh, another spin. There's a big, couple of cars off. Joseph Spiteri is 1. Actually, that was only one guy. It looked as if, by the way, it was going everywhere. There were more guys involved, but no, it was only Joseph Spiteri. And Omar Barbara incidentally did not pit. He's staying out, and he's actually attacking Joseph Kalea. Doesn't get through that time around, though. And still, Christian Baruki is behind Josh Martin and right under his gearbox. Actually, he's dropped back a little bit in the first sector there, but he was very close as they crossed the start-finish line. And he will definitely be one driver who is hoping to catch the driver ahead of him. He was actually faster in the second sector there, although lost out a lot in the first sector by about 8/10. So I wonder if there was a big slide or something from Christian Baruki which affected him. And Bernard Vella, incidentally, is already under attack. Oh no, he's attacked. He's gone through. So Vella, despite the fact I'm pretty sure the gap for the lead was about 4 seconds before I looked, it had come right out. But now it's changed. So Vella, right when I wasn't looking, because I thought that battle for the lead was over, has taken the lead. So what happened to Baruki? Was there an incident involving Baruki or something like that? Whatever has happened, Bernard Vella has taken the lead effect last time around, and has a big wiggle going through Beckett, and might come under attack now from Terence Grech. Grech is in the slipstream. He's certainly getting close as Justin Baruki puts in a race best. Oh, crash! Bernard Vella! It's the leader! The leader's crashed! Now where did that happen and how did that happen? He's teleported back to the pit. But whatever's happened, Bernard Vella has been into the barrier. Was that an incident between Baruki? Baruki's about 3 seconds off his best lap pace. So I wonder whether there was a crash between Justin Barucki and Bernard Vella.
So actually, we're gonna be looking into this later on, but we saw it quite clearly. That it seems that Justin Barucki opened up his turbo, and all of a sudden he just crashed Bernard Vella at the back.
Oh no! I've just seen that on the stream. It was just that Barucki suddenly was moving a lot faster than Vella as a result of the turbo and the slipstream, and he just drove into him. I mean, he might just not have known that the speed difference was quite so dramatic, but sadly, it looks as if all of the blame there has to be apportioned to Justin Barucki. But now Josh Martin is coming under real attack from Christian Barucki for second. They were almost side by side as they crossed the start-finish line, and Terence Grech is right behind both of them as well. So those two are very, very... Oh, well, those three are very close. All this contact. Oh, very nearly. It looks as if Christian Barucki was forced quite wide. Oh dear, and there's more contact. And into the wall now goes Christian Barucki. And I believe that was Clinton Falzon in a very similar incident to the one we saw for the lead of the race just now. So both Baruchis have been involved. One being the car behind and the other being the car in front. Whatever's happened, Falzon was tipped. No, Barucki was tipped off and towards the barrier and into the barrier, and has now dropped several places. So that battle, unfortunately, is another one that's ended in tears. And his rear wing is at a very wonky angle. That is not the correct angle for a rear wing, and that is going to be really affecting his handling here. Hopefully not too much, but he's dropped down into 5th position. So it's all gone from bad to worse for the Baruchis, with one of them being investigated by the stewards and the other one with a wonky rear wing. Now, that makes the gap for the lead 1.9 seconds. It's Justin Barucki rather, from Josh Martin, Terence Grech, who's up into third with all of those incidents. Clinton Falzon, who has a big slide, goes onto the grass and has lost several positions as well. So what position is Clinton Falzon now in? Still 4th, never mind. I believe those are back markers he's running around. Christian Barucki is 5th, still with that really damaged rear wing. Then it's Brandon DeBone, Keith Camilleri, Omar Barbara, still with that damaged front wing. Sandro Zara, Josef Spiteri, Josef Calea, Dario Andrioni. It looks to me as if Andrioni is ahead of Calea, actually he is. And then it's Alessandro Grech and Bernard Vella, who is still in the pits. And then Jake Bonici, who I believe had some sort of incident earlier in the race and had a lengthy pit stop for that. The gap for the lead incident, he came out by over a second on that lap. It's now 3 seconds. Justin Barucki leading from Josh Martin, and now really the battle is between Martin. Oh no, Martin is actually getting away from Terence Grech here, and Grech is dropping back towards the hands of Clinton Falzon. So that could be where the action takes place between Grech and Falzon here. And Falzon is now getting into the slipstream. Of course, the slipstream, not really the most important thing in terms of the overtakes in this car, but braking late, getting the traction through the corners and opening up that turbo. And doing that all in the correct way. Of course, while these cars do have quite a bit of aerodynamic downforce, that's not all they rely on, and they rely more on the mechanical grip, really, I'd say. Although, when you see a rear wing hanging off like Christian Barucki's, it's really not going to do them any favours. And Terence Grech actually did catch Josh Martin quite a lot on that lap, actually, so that battle might be back on quite soon. Maybe Martin made a little mistake or something. And now, Clinton Falzon had a look at Terence Grech there. It was certainly close as they went down into Brooklands. So that's probably going to be the main overtaking spot of the race, down into Brooklands there. But not this time around for Clinton Falzon. And now, as we cross the line, the gap has come out again between Martin and Grech, as Grech is having to go defensive from Falzon more, and therefore is losing a bit more time. Now it is all about Falzon and Grech. Falzon taking a wider line through Beckett's there. with a tighter exit, I think. So going for the extra speed onto the straight, just to sort of drag himself closer to Terence Grech ahead of him. This is for the final podium position in third. We've got a couple of backmarkers coming up as well. I said that there'd be some, and there certainly are already. And we're only about 10 minutes into this race. That won't have been helped, of course, by the various incidents we saw at the start of this race either. And this still the battle to watch between Falzen and Grech. And was that Grech losing pace? It was. Grech is slowing. And is that some sort of turbo failure? He still seems to be moving, and the engine is on. He just randomly seemed to slow mid-corner there. Maybe there was a big twitch or something that he needed to correct, and he slammed on the brakes or something like that. But whatever the case, Grech has lost third position to Clinton Falzen. I just saw him moving slowly mid-corner, and whatever's happened there, they have swapped positions. So that's a weird one, but that is what's happened. And now Falzen can think about hunting down Josh Martin for second, possibly. So where is the next real battle on track at the moment? We've got plenty of backmarkers that's confusing things. Falzen is already setting about catching Josh Martin. He's just set the fastest first sector time of anyone so far. So Martin obviously thinking about, Falzen obviously thinking about chasing Martin so far. And those two obviously, might well find themselves in combat before long. Oh, Jake Benici's off and in the wall. That's Beckett. Or was that just him getting out of the way of people? You do lose quite a lot of time doing that. That is a pretty time-consuming way to do it. He loses. Yeah, that's damaged. That's rear suspension damage for my money there. As Benici finds himself facing the wrong direction. He just saw him lighting up the rear tires and losing it as he went down the straight. Unfortunately, Vela is still in the pits, and I believe he's out of the race.
So actually, we've come to a conclusion with Justin Baruki. We're trying obviously to get in touch with him on Discord, but it seems he's not in his channel like he was supposed to be. We decided we're quite lenient on that, but we decided obviously he needs to go for a drive-through. Because of the crash he caused on Bernard Vella.
Right, so that's the race leader, Justin Baruki, who is going to have to go for a drive-through penalty if we can get the message to him, that is. If not, that'll be a time penalty at the end of the race, quite a hefty one. Hopefully we can get the message to him. But that means that Josh Martin is effectively leading this race, and he's caught it right to the back of Justin Baruki now. So Baruki, even though he is not technically leading the race, oh dear! Now, Josh Martin had a big kick of oversteer behind Justin Baruki there. It looked as if he was going to lose it. Didn't, luckily, and he's only half a second behind Justin Baruki now. So Baruki's dropping back, and will drop back further as he's going to have to take a drive-through. And at this track, I'd estimate a drive-through will take about 20 seconds off your, if we add 20 seconds to your race time. So that would put him, I'd estimate, about 7th.
Sorry for interrupting, Joshua, but unfortunately, if Justin Baruki doesn't make his drive-through in the next lap, we need to obviously take third direction because he's also not on the right channel in Discord, you know.
And would that be a disqualification maybe, or just a hefty time penalty at the end of the race? And does he get an extra penalty for not being in his right Discord channel?
We cannot obviously disqualify him because that's even the rules we go by. But we need to give him obviously a hefty time penalty.
Oh, I tell you what! Oh no, huge crash! Falzen and Grech. It was Alessandro Grech who went off initially and just collected Clinton Falzen as he was going round, and then Terence Grech was collected by the spinning Clinton Falzen. So third and fourth, both involved there. Terence Grech has hefty damage on that car. That's bad to see, especially seeing as that was through no fault of his own. Alessandro Grech also has hefty damage on the car and is now, oh no, not in the pits, but Josef Calleja is. So Calleja's been involved in an incident all by himself. And that's very bad damage for Alessandro Grech. He's going to be heading straight into the pits. I should wonder. He's not. He's staying out. So Alessandro is staying out for another lap. He's got front and rear damage on that car. And Falzen and Terence Grech were also involved. Does Terence Grech? Oh, Terence Grech is having to pit. So Terence Grech in the pits, and unfortunately that could be a race over for him. It certainly is in terms of his competitive running. So plenty of drama at the front of the field here. It's a big shame. Now, Josh Martin is catching, but Baruki's off. Baruki parks his car. He's in the pit. Duh, what's happened there? So Baruki and Josh Martin. Oh, the race is over. Now, okay, I read it all wrong. Apologies for making you all panic there. Oh dear, I thought there was another lap to go. But anyway, Justin Baruki wins the race, but will get a hefty penalty for that. Josh Martin is second, 6/10 of a second behind, but wins it. So Josh Martin, providing there aren't any further penalties, wins the race from Clinton Falson, Christian Baruki with that heavily damaged rear wing. Of course, we don't know where Justin Baruki slots in. Then Keith Camilleri was right behind Christian Baruki at the end. Brandon Tabone is sixth for now, and I think will stay sixth, actually. And then it's Omar Barbarat, Sandro Zarek, Joseph Spiteri, Terence Grech, Dario Andrioni, Alessandro Grech, Joseph Clare, Jake Benici, and then the retirement in Bernard Vella. But unfortunately, we have no idea why, what the finishing order is actually going to be, and we might have further penalties from time penalties of cutting or track extending at turn 1 or something like that. Whatever the case, that was a very hectic race, and unfortunately, I still don't know what the order was.
So we came actually to a conclusion for a discussion between the stewards, and we have no other option, obviously, because Justin Baruki didn't join the Discord channel and obviously didn't hear us to give him the penalty to go to do the drive-through. So it's a 10 plus 20-second penalty. That's a total of 30-second penalty for Justin Baruki.
30-second penalty, so that will put him about 7th, I think. I'm going to look at the order. Yeah, that'll put him 6th. So Justin Baruki drops to 6th behind Brandon Tabone with that 30-second penalty. Very nearly didn't finish behind Tabone, actually. If Tabone had just been about 9/10 of a second slower, then Baruki would have finished 5th rather than 6th. But instead, he drops to 6th place. So that means Josh Martin wins the race, providing there aren't any further penalties for track extending for any of these drivers. And then it's Clinton Falson, Christian Baruki, Keith Camilleri, Brandon Tabone, Justin Baruki, Omar Barbarat, Dario Andrioni, Alessandro Grech, Joseph Calleja, Jake Benici, and now, a couple of people apparently went in the Discord channels that they were supposed to be in, and there's several people actually protesting it, saying that it lags the game. Well, one person I can see, and of course, there were a couple of other drivers who weren't where they should have been. One of them, of course, being the driver who crossed the line first, Justin Baruki, which is a shame, but rules are rules. So that is where they lost that race.
So we as we said, it's like we try to keep, we keep obviously to our rules. It's important that the drivers follow our rules. So we try to have a clean and professional racing. Following also the first race, we have a 10-second penalty for Clinton Falson and the 10-second penalty for Joseph Spiteri. Due obviously to cutting the corner 3 times in a row during the race.
Right to you. Well, that will affect the order a little bit. Falzon was initially, that was 6th. I don't remember. I don't actually remember the times. I don't think there's any way to check it. But anyway, we have about 1.5 minutes to go until the race, and now we have a reverse grid. Of course, the one driver who will not take the reverse grid at the front is Bernard Vella, because he was a DNF, unfortunately, after that incident. But at the front of the order, we have Jake Benici, and he will be followed by Alessandro Grech, Dario Andrioni, Joseph Spiteri, Sandro Zara, Omar Barbara, Brandon Tabone, Keith Camilleri, Christian Barucchi, Clinton Falzon, Josh Martin, Justin Barucchi, Terence Grech, Joseph Clare, and Bernard Vella. So Vella, of course, has a lot of ground to make up. We know he's a quick driver, but of course he will have to start from plumb last. 30 seconds to go until the start of this race. Wait for the lights to come on, and when they go off, we will be racing for race 2 here with the reversed grid. If this race is anywhere near as eventful as race 1, I'm surely going to lose my voice. Hopefully we don't get the same sort of incidents. Here come the lights. We've got 6 on. Now they're off. Away we go for this race, and it's a good start for Alessandro Grech. He's going to lead. Oh, there's crash. No, Andrioni and Benici made slight contact. Benici's off, so our pole sitter is off and over the grass. Does everyone make it through okay? There's someone else on the grass there, but I don't believe anyone's spun. It looks as if everyone's made it through okay. At the front of the order, it's still Alessandro Grech. So a good, clean start to the race from what I can see. And that all looks good. Alessandro Grech leads it, followed by Dario Andrioni. But look at that. Second goes... who was that? Someone was going for second as Barbara makes contact with Tabone. No, not with Tabone. Is that Spiteri? Well, he made contact with someone. It's hard to see with this order not updating until the first lap is over. And let's see what the order is after this first lap of the race. It's Alessandro Grech, Christian Barucchi, Dario Andrioni, Josh Martin, Joseph Spiteri, Terence Grech, Bernard Vella, Omar Barbara, Keith Camilleri, Brandon Tabone. Ooh, Tabone blasts his way past Camilleri for 9th. And then it's Clinton Falzon, Joseph Clare, who is off and has spun at turn 1, Justin Barucchi, Sandro Zara, and Jake Benici. Now, Christian Barucchi has not given up on the lead of this race and has just taken it. So Christian Barucchi takes the lead of this race down the Wellington Straight, and it's Barucchi now who leads it. And let's see that confirmed as we cross the start-finish line. Of course, we're used to seeing Justin Barucchi leading the race from last race, but now Christian Barucchi leads it from Grech, Martin, Andrioni, and Spiteri, and Camilleri is dropping down the order. He's down to 10th now. Whew, well, this race so far hasn't had the same kind of carnage we saw in race 1, luckily, but certainly a fair bit of position moving on this opening lap. Spiteri's been off, so Spiteri, who was running in 5th, has had some sort of spin and has dropped down the order. He was running 5th, now he's running about 14th, maybe, around then. And Justin Barucchi is charging. He has set the fastest race first sector so far, and is up to 7th on that lap, as Spiteri did indeed drop right down the order to 13th. Whatever happened to him there. So it's still Christian Barucchi leading the race from Josh Martin, Alessandro Grech, Dario Andrioni, and Terence Grech. That is the order. No, it isn't, because Bernard Vella has moved up to 5th. So Vella is 5th, Terence Grech is 6th, but Grech is still on the inside. Although has to settle for 6th for now, as Andrioni goes wide and has the inside for Luffield, but is under attack from both Grech and Vella, who are also now side by side. And I believe that we're going to see those names switch as we cross the line. Indeed, they did. It's very tough to work out who's where as Andrioni, spins! Andrioni had just been passed and gets tagged up the rear, I believe, by Terence Gregg. Loses control of the car, goes into the barrier, drops right down the order. He's going to come out towards the back. He was running in fourth, but he's right down the order now, which is a big shame. But Dario Andrioni is going to be right at the back. What position is he in? I'm going to have to work it out. He is... oh dear, he's 13th. So, big shame for Dario Andrioni, who's running right up the order and through what looked to me, although I wasn't really looking, I saw it out to the corner of my eye, like it was through no fault of his own, has dropped right down the order to 13th position, and that moves Baruki up to 4th, and Terence Gregg back up into 5th position. Still, all 15 cars running in this race so far, which is great to see. And it's still Baruki leading from Martin, although Martin is hunting him down and is gaining time in pretty much every sector, despite the gap through the last sector being 2.8 seconds. And Omar Barbara goes quickest of the race so far in the first sector after slipstreaming his way past Sandro Zara. So Barbara passes Zara for 9th position. And that's a position that is changed. So there we go. Also, Tabone has moved himself. Has actually Zara dropped quite a few places there. Zara, I believe, was running about 7th before this lap. Now he's down in 9th. There are a few. No, it was Alessandro Grech lost a position to Brandon Tabone there. It's very difficult to work out who's making the moves as Christian Baruki goes fastest of the race so far in the first sector in his bid to pull away from Josh Martin, who's only about 1/10 faster than Martin in the first sector there. So Martin is still hunting him down, and Baruki is still trying to hold on for the lead of this race now. He's really responding to Martin actually now. That was a slower lap from Martin. So I'm wondering whether Christian Baruki's found his rhythm now and is just being able to maintain this this gap at the front of the field. The real battle is going to be between third. Justin Baruki tried to go around on the outside of Terence Gregg there and got very close to the edge of the circuit, had to back out of it. And that was rather close there, but they maintain position, and Gregg goes wide now, and Baruki pops up the inside of Luffield. And can he hold on to this one? Of course he can. Luffield is not a corner you want to be on the outside of, so Baruki gets 4th position there, although he's going to have to defend again from Gregg, who had a look at him, and has the inside now, does he? It looks like a slight rear wing damage just from Baruki. But Vela is not able to have a look just yet. I mean, Gregg isn't. Also, Gregg is dropping back down to Tabone actually. So Tabone looks as if he might be about to have a look at Gregg here. Certainly does take a slight look, but it was only speculative and doesn't take a chance. That does look like a slightly damaged rear wing for the for Justin Baruki's car with his Rothman Williams colours.
So, Joshua.
Yeah.
A lot of work for our live steward here today, trying to follow obviously all the cars one by one, especially on turn 1 to see the cutting of the track, as it seems that Seto doesn't give its own penalty on this corner. So it's quite heavy. We're seeing quite a spread of penalties of people cutting that corner, but obviously till now in this race it seems there's nobody that could reach the three cuts during the race.
Very exciting scrap for 3rd place, as Baruki had a look at Vela and almost through, and then Vela gave him a right old shove going into Luffield, forced him wide, and got back through again, and now Vela is ahead again and Baruki has to do it all over again. But that shove was very, very forceful. Baruki launches to the inside of Beckett and doesn't manage to get through that, but he will be in the slipstream as we head down the Wellington Straight. He has to be careful that Terence Gregg doesn't get past him as well. Terence Gregg's right behind him as Baruki goes back to the inside of Bernard Vella. There's a slight bit of contact there. Oh, he spins! Justin Baruki goes around. Oh no, Baruki spins and drops down the order, and that's a big shame. What happened to Bernard Vella? He continued. So unfortunately, Baruki just came off much, much worse there and drops down the order to, well, where's he going to cross the line? 8th. No, 9th. Oh dear. That's a very bad bit of news from Justin Baruki there.
We'll be reviewing, obviously, later this contact. Although we have quite a clear idea what happened, but we'll be reviewing it, obviously, through the replays to be 100% of what we've seen on our screens here.
Of course, pretty much all contact needs to be reviewed. Also, there was a Rothman Williams car running slowly there, and I'm wondering. I was Joseph Kalea, so Kalea with a very damaged rear wing. No, Joseph. Oh yeah, with Kalea with a very damaged rear wing has. It looks as if he was just getting out of the way of the leaders there, but why doesn't he pit? He's going awfully slowly with that rear wing there. So that's a bit baffling. But anyway, Josh Martin has got right up to Christian Baruki here. I think Baruki made a mistake because he's dropped back 3 seconds as contact as Martin had a look at Baruki, just left his braking slightly too late and hit the back of Christian Baruki's car, but doesn't take either off. Luckily, that was very, very close. And now Martin, our race 1 winner, is going to attempt a race 2 victory as well. He's certainly close. And Christian Baruki taking a much slower entry to turn 1 there. And now Martin trying to go around the outside. Christian Baruki looks to be struggling a bit here because he's going rather slowly around the opening couple of corners here. So that's a bit baffling. But Josh Martin is certainly having a good old look at him here. Will he attempt around the outside? Not there. He goes for a switchback, but it looks as if Baruki pulls away in the second sector and then Martin catches back up in the first sector. That appears to be how it works between the two. So if Martin really wants an attack, yeah, look at how different the speed is through turns 1, 2, and 3 there. Martin just has it. And Baruki just doesn't. And now Martin is side by side with Baruki as we head down the Wellington Straight. This, of course, is where they made contact about 2 laps ago. He's going to try to go around the outside. And I think this might work here, and it does. So Josh Martin takes the lead of the race from Christian Baruki. Oh, but goes wide at Luffield. This is the sector where Baruki's quick. But it looks as if Martin's going to... spin! And he's in the wall! Christian Baruki just lit up the rear tyres trying to get back at Josh Martin. Spun the car into the wall. He dropped several positions. And that's a big shame for Christian Baruki. He was running very, very well. How's his front wing looking? He went into the wall front first and he's dropped to 7th position. His front wing is dodgy. Of course, last race it was his rear wing that was the issue. Now it's his front wing. And within the same 10th of a second, Vella and Grech. So Grech and Vella really, really fighting over this second place though. And of course, I always say that if you can finish second, you can finish first. So this could be for the leader of the race if something happens to Josh Martin. Fingers crossed it doesn't. Of course, these two cars identically liveried. Not identically liveried at all. Very similarly liveried. And Grech is attempting to reel in Vella, although appeared to drop back slightly on that lap. Incidentally, the two Barukis are fighting now for 7th and 8th position, and those two will probably have fought many times in the past, so a possible brotherly rivalry will be continuing today. I know I certainly have a big racing rivalry with my brother. Now, Bernard Vella and Terence Grech still very close on track and wondering what the gap is going to be as we head towards the final stage of this race. We've got 2 laps remaining after this one. 3 rather. And Vella and Grech still rather close, although Vella runs very wide. And Grech might well have a look at him here as Christian Brücke has gained a place on Omar Barbara. That's for 5th. And dropping down the order, I think, has gone Clinton Falzen, maybe? Now, Grech has the slipstream on Vella, but won't be able to get close enough into Brooklands this time around. And has to look elsewhere. What about Luffield? Can he get the switch back on the exit? Not there. It's all about getting the gear changes right in these cars. I believe that they are running H pattern shifters, or some of these will be. That's what it originally was. As Grech runs slightly wide, so it's all about getting that gear shift utterly right on time, better than the others do it, and that is one thing that these guys up the front of the order have been doing very, very well. And still though, Terence Grech not finding a way past Bernard Vella. We are on the final lap of the race now with Josh Martin. Martin is on the final lap of the race. He's on his way to a double victory. Vella, Grech and Camilleri very close for second still. That is a final lap battle there. And Christian Brücke spun. Brücke is off at turn 1. That's not turn 1, that's Luffield. Any damage? No more than the original damage. Not that I can see anyway. Josh Martin is in the final sector now. He's only got 2 corners to go. Luffield and Woodcote. And Josh Martin is going to exit the final corner of the race. Here he comes through Luffield now. And he's going to win it now. Josh Martin wins the race ahead of Bernard Vella. A brilliant double victory for Josh Martin here today. And it's Vella second, Grech third, Camilleri fourth. And Justin Brücke, whose weekend promised so much. And he just threw it away in that instant in race 1. Crosses the line in 5th position in this race 2. Clinton Falzen is 6th. Omar Barbara is 7th. 8th was Brandon Tabone. 9th was Sandro Zara, just ahead of Christian Brücke, who spun at the start of that lap and actually spins again just after the finish, but that doesn't matter. He was 10th. 11th was Dario Andreoni. 12th was Jake Benici. 13th was Joseph Spiteri. And then we had 2 retirements in Alessandro Grech and Josef Kalea. Plenty of drivers doing donuts on the Wellington Straight now. I can imagine those cars were very enjoyable to drive. And what a race we just saw, or 2 races in fact. That was very entertaining. Anyway, I believe we are now going to get a couple of interviews from whichever drivers we can get a hold of.
Yes, we'll be getting the drivers now into the channel for some interviews.
Right to you. First driver in so far is Justin Brücke. Can you hear us, Justin?
Yes, I can.
Good. Well, I must say, you won race 1, only to find out you had a big penalty. Surely that's utterly gutting.
Well, I didn't know I had a penalty, but actually, I don't know what happened. I was passing. He did a sudden move. I couldn't avoid that. I tried to brake hard, but I couldn't avoid that.
Well, it's a shame when you suddenly find yourself going so much faster than another guy. It is difficult to dodge, but it's ruined your race. You you must say, what was the hassle with the Discord call as well? Because you probably would have got off with a smaller penalty if it wasn't for that.
Well, I don't know what happened. I was on Discord, but I don't know what happened. I couldn't hear that I have a penalty. Maybe I could do better if I just only get a drive-through penalty.
Well, after the disappointment of race 1, how do you feel about your race 2 result?
Well, it was good. Not a lot because I was hit lots of time, and yes, I was hit lot of time, and my car was damaged. Like the race one, also my car was damaged, but it's okay.
And fifth in the end, are you pleased with that result?
Yes, I know that I did the fastest qualifying lap, so I know I am very fast. I have the pace. No matter what happened in the race, it's okay.
Jolly good, thanks for that. Right, we have about 4 other people in for an interview, Nate. So I'm going to go from the top of the order alphabetically, just to save myself the choice. And that means we will start with Bernard Vella. Hello, Bernard.
Hello.
Right. So very consistent. Pace from you that we saw there. Second in race 2, but how did race 1 go initially?
I was leading the race after a mistake from Justin. Then I was just hit from behind, so I couldn't do anything. It's just a part of racing. You have to accept it.
Well,
everyone makes mistakes, so it's normal.
And do you think you would have been able to hold him off otherwise? Do you think you would have won the race?
He was using the turbo more than me, so I think I could have held him off if there was a bit more laps.
Okay, but race 2, you recovered very well to second place. Actually, surely that was quite a thrilling experience working your way through from right at the back of the grid.
Yeah, there were a lot of incidents, so I could dice my way up the field quite quickly.
Well, I can imagine that was very entertaining. Next in the commentary box, we have Josh Martin. Hello, Josh.
Hi, mate. How are you getting on?
Yeah, very good. Good first name as well. Anyway, when did you find out that you'd won race 1? Surely that was quite shocking for you.
It's so shocking. I've only just found out just now, but yeah, an amazing result. Obviously, there was quite a lot of pace in the field tonight, and it was just a case you had to keep your head down and push your way on. So, admittedly, it's not taking first across the line, but it still feels pretty good.
I can imagine you'd do better you'd feel better with first across the line. Of course, you got very close as well. You were attacking Justin all the way through the second stint. How was that for you? How did race 1? How did it feel like race 1 was going?
Yeah, well, I mean, as you'll see yourself, the car can be quite a diva at times, so a lot of battling going on. But Justin had great pace, and it was just a case of managing the turbo, the fuel, and the tires right through to the end. So pretty happy with how the race went. I think there was a few incidents around me, but you just got to capitalize on these when they come up.
Absolutely, and you mentioned the turbo and all of that old-fashioned, good old grunt. It's a heat shifter, isn't it? How's that to handle? Do you normally drive cars like that?
I'm actually more of a modern Formula racer, so it's nice to have a wee throwback to this. Like you say, the introduction to the turbo as well. You kind of have to treat it like a KERS or DRS system almost. Only using it on the straights really is where I was doing it. But yeah, it was a beautiful car to drive, and she got me to the finish line, so I can't argue.
But of course, after not crossing the finish line first in race 1, you did in race 2. I bet that felt brilliant.
Yeah, a great feeling, mate. Again, it was just a case of pushing to the limit and capitalizing where I could. A few overtakes, so pretty happy.
Yeah, it was a great race to watch. So thanks for that. Right, next, of course, we have Terence Gray. Hello, Terence.
Hey there, Joshua.
Right, so Terence, you were right in the mix of the action. Actually, a couple couple of little incidents, but anyway, tell us how your what day is it? Thursday of racing went.
Yeah, first race I was doing pretty well, unfortunately, but well, unfortunately, the last two laps there was an incident. I think it was Clint, and there was a back marker there that he caused the incident, and Clint went out of the track, and I barely see him, and I crashed into him, and I spun, and then Alessandro just gave me a big hit, and my car was completely destroyed, and I had to stop the race. And race two, yeah, I started about 13th place, I think. And yeah, my pace was pretty well. There was some cars spinning all over around. And yeah, managed my pace and yeah, finished third place. And yeah, I'm happy with that race.
Okay, so that was race one, wasn't it? How was race two then?
Yeah, I was thinking about race two now as well. As I said, I
Oh, were
started
you?
13th
Oops.
place. And yeah, I managed my pace. My pace was very good and managed to finish third place. As I said, there were some cars spinning all over the place. And yeah, just finished behind Bernhard. It was a bit, yeah, it was great.
Okay, sorry, my mistake.
It's okay.
Right, so that. What, sorry?
Well, it was a good race, but there were quite a lot of incidents. Obviously, we're going to see the replay. We're going to see the replay, and we will obviously will give penalties to those that did harsh accidents, and those who extended the first exit of the first corner. And obviously, we'll give, if they exceeded more than 3 cuts, obviously they're going to have a 10-second penalty, along with also Justin Baruki's penalties as well. And obviously we have to see the replay, all of it, from all over again, from the first lap of the first race till the end of the second race as well. So by tomorrow we will publish all the results, and we will announce the winner, who will win the 1-year free membership and the racing gloves sponsored by KSL, the Sparkle gloves. Thanks for everyone. Thank you, Joshua, for your commentary as usual. Thanks for all the drivers. You were all professional. No one argued or something, or there's always an argument sometimes, but we're all grown-ups, so we have to take a decision from the stewards. The stewards decide. We have no preference. Even we had drivers from our team. We had drivers from our teams, and we have no preference to them. They have penalties as well. So that's it. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in the Porsche Championship and the next casual races.
Oh yes, I thought we were offline. Okay, so, yeah. Again, thanks for watching this, to everyone who did on Facebook and YouTube. And the next race, of course, is going to be the Porsche Cup, which will be the main series, of course, round 2 of that. And that will be from Monza on the 23rd of February. So really not that long to wait. And that's going to be quite a thrilling one, I can imagine, because Porsche's at Monza, or anything at Monza, in fact, plenty of slipstreaming opportunities. It's going to be a cracker. So we will see you in that one. And goodbye for now.
Gigabit Internet issa f'Malta. Gawdi mill-Giga Power biss mal-Melita Flexi.